Singapore is so beautiful, and there is so much to do there. I have been there like 6-7 times, and every time I go there I am always so thrilled. If you are planning your trip to Singapore, then I have a few tips for you while you're applying for your visa, so that you go there relaxed and all prepared for what's to happen. I had a big blunder done by my agent, so I was called by the Singaporean embassy once and I was so scared. It was thankfully all sorted and done, but I got to know so many things when I got there, and the embassy representatives, they talked to me and told me what better I could have done. So here I have some tips for your visa application process, what documents you should submit, and how you can get your visa very easily. So when applying for a Singapore visa as a tourist, let's say from a country like India, then you need to do everything online, but you as an individual cannot get the visa online. You need to go to a consultant, and those are the authorized consultants that can process the visa, or it can be somebody from Singapore itself who is already a PR or a citizen there, who can send you an invitation and then you get the visa. So when you apply through the agents, that is mostly for a tourist visa, you will encounter a fee which is 30 Singapore dollars, and that is roughly around 2000 Indian rupees. Since you will be contacting an agent, that agent might also ask you for some money. So it can be around 500 or 1000 rupees that the agent might ask you to pay in addition to the fee that the Singapore embassy asks you to pay. Then when you're applying, you need to make sure that your passport is fresh. It is valid for more than 6 months from your dates of travel. So make sure that it is renewed just in case it is more than, let's say, 8 or 9 years old. You should get a fresh photograph clicked. And this is not the typical passport sized photograph that we use in our application forms within India or other places. So you have to make sure that this photograph complies with the requirements that the Singapore government has suggested to keep in your photograph. You will then also be asked to fill a form, that is the form 14A, which is a very simple form which you can easily fill, and you can download the PDF for it, fill it out, and you can even make a physical copy of it, but your agent will be uploading all of this onto their portal, and on your behalf they will be applying. So this would ask for details like what are your travel dates and some personal details as well. So make sure that you only fill those details out and nothing else is required. Some agents might ask you for an additional document, which is your bank statements for the last 3 or 6 months. It is completely okay if you are providing that. But beyond that, if your agent is asking you to bring any other documents, that might be a red signal, because you should not be submitting any other documents. So when applying for the visa, you should keep in mind that you will only get the visa duration of 30 days. So if you're planning to travel, let's say, 1st November to 30th November, you have to make sure that you specify the dates and you are only given 30 days to stay there. You will also need to submit your passport. So just in case you're planning to apply for other visas as well, make sure that you keep that in mind. And finally, you should get your decision in 3 to 5 working days. That's what they say. That's what the authorities say. But to be honest, it can take longer. So be prepared for that as well. Now, upon arrival, what all to prepare? So when you're arriving in Singapore, make sure that you also have a return flight outside back to your home country or to the next destination from Singapore, because in some cases you can be denied entry and you might be asked, why have you not booked a flight for returning when you're only given a 30-day permission to stay there? And when you arrive there, when you get to Singapore, there are machines, so you don't even have to interact with humans most of the time. So in your passport itself, there will be details of your eVisa saved by the authority. So when you scan, it automatically would detect whether you have an eVisa or not. So even if you get a paper eVisa from your consultant, you will still not require to actually show that when you get to Singapore. Yes, you will be asked to show that when you are leaving the Indian airport. So while boarding your flight, before that, when you have your immigration, you would be asked to carry your eVisa. So make sure that you carry that. And the mistake that I had made was with my agent. My agent was repeatedly applying for smaller durations when I knew that I would be traveling very frequently. So I was traveling almost like every month for 6-7 days. But my agent did a huge mistake, and they wanted to earn more with every application that I make. So they were like, okay, they were only putting the dates for 6 or 7 days, and then after 1 month when I'm applying again, they would ask me to do the application all over again. And that's why after after 3 or 4 times, the Singapore embassy asked me to present my case and tell them what what I'm up to. But it was not really scary because I told them that that was the agent's mistake. They could have requested for a longer term visa because that was my requirement. I was going for business purposes, but the agent was kind of greedy perhaps, and they did this huge mistake which could have costed me getting banned from Singapore. So make sure that you do all of your research before you apply, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments. Thank you so much, and see you in some other video. Bye bye.